Hello and welcome to 5 Year Club video number 243. Something that I've tried to do kind of over time is to get an idea of what should the numbers or what are the numbers for Americans at every age. And when I say numbers, I'm talking about the shape of their finances, net worth, debt, income, things like that. And what I've learned over time is that I think the average net worth peaks around something like 130, and it's nearly all mortgage, like home value. And then there's some small part of it that's, miscellaneous, like, 401k, IRA, just cash savings, that kind of thing. Tonight, let's look at debt. How much debt do Americans have at every age? You can see I already looked for the word mortgage because I was interested to see if these numbers were skewed by mortgage debt, because mortgages dominate most Americans' finances. Credit cards, student loans, mortgages, car loans, personal loans. Most Americans have a combination of these sources of debt, and despite their best intentions, Americans are digging themselves deeper into a hole each year. The average American now has about $38,000 in personal debt, excluding home mortgages. That's up $1,000 from a year ago, according to Northwestern Mutual's 2018 Planning and Progress Study, which also reports that fewer people said they carry no debt this year compared to 2017. 23% versus 27%. Despite recognizing that debt is dangerous waters, Americans are jumping in with both feet and struggling to stay afloat, said Emily Holbrook, Director of Planning for Northwestern Mutual. Credit cards and mortgages tied as the leading sources of debt, followed by student loans and car loans, according to the survey. The findings are based on a survey of over 2,000 U.S. adults, including an oversampling of more than 600 millennials. So they got down and dirty with the millennials. Eternally indebted, average personal debt is up to $38,000. Credit card debt is 25% of all debt. So that means it's 19 divided by 2 is about 9,500. I get that right? 2 in 10 Americans spend 50% to 100% of their monthly income on debt repayment. So that's 20% of Americans spend 50 to 100% of their monthly income on debt repayment. It doesn't specify whether this debt repayment is mortgage debt, though, or if it's this personal debt. It's almost for sure got to be mortgage debt. Generation Z and younger millennials aged 18 to 24, their debt is $22,000. For those aged 18 to 24, it's no surprise that student loans are the highest source of debt, 28%, followed by credit card balances. At least experts consider student loans to be good debt because, well, not all experts, because they are typically low cost and may have tax advantages. Meanwhile, credit card debt is almost always bad debt because it has much higher interest rates. You can bankrupt on credit card debt, you can't bankrupt on student loan debt. So you tell me which one I want. I think I would rather have the credit card debt. When it comes to student loans, don't take out more in total than you believe you will make with your first year's salary. Carrie Schwab Pomerantz, a financial advisor, board chair, and president of the Charles Schwab Foundation, tells CNBC, make it. So if you think you're going to earn $50,000 right out of college, you shouldn't have more than $50,000 in student loans. I'm not sure what I think of this. So this would basically be like a 1x salary rule in terms of student loan debt. And the typical home purchase multiplier is like 2.5 to 3%. Or sorry, 2.5 times your salary to 3 times your salary. So they're saying that the student loan debt should only be a 1x multiple. Obviously, you can't live in a student loan, but the student loan may have raised your salary. Okay, so older millennials aged 25 to 34. $42,000 in personal debt. Among older millennials, credit card balances are the leading source of debt, making up a fourth of what the average older millennials owe. A fourth, that's over $10,000 of credit card debt for older millennials. Student debt accounts for about 16%, while mortgages make up just 3%. Wow. So older millennials don't have mortgages. They're not buying homes. As you grow older, your expenses increase. The additional pressures that come into... Wait, hold on a second. This is $42,000. This should be excluding mortgages. This is confusing to me. Let's go see. Average personal debt is up to $38,000. So I would assume that this is personal debt, but now they're talking about mortgages. That's a bit confusing. As you grow older, your expenses increase. The additional pressures that come into the pocketbook only grow, and your disposable income shrinks in a lot of cases. Even if your salary is growing, Holbrook tells CNBC Make It. Let's see. I want to revisit this. That is just confusing, I think. All right. Generation X, ages 35 through 49. That's a big old chunk. Right? Okay. For those age 35 to 49, home mortgages are the #1 source of debt. Okay, so those are the people making home purchases. They account for about 32% of the members of they account for about 32% of the members of this age group typically owe. I think that's a bad sentence. The survey finds they account for about 32% of the members of this age group typically owe. Yeah, that's just a malformed sentence, I think. Maybe it's of what the members. The survey finds credit card debt is the #2 source, while car loans and education debt tie for about 7% each. This era in your life is crunch time, says Kevin O'Leary, personal finance author and co-host of ABC's Shark Tank. People should aim to have all their debt paid off, from mortgages to student loans to credit card debt, by age 45, he tells CNBC Make It. The reason I say 45 is the turning point, or in your 40s, is because... The reason I say 45 is the turning point, or in your 40s, is because think about a career. Most careers start in early 20s and end in mid-60s. O'Leary says. So, when you're 45 years old, the game is more than half over, and you better be out of debt because you're going to use the rest of the innings in that game to accrue capital. Baby boomers, age 50 plus, $36,000. Those who are age 50 or older have the second lowest amount of debt, which is good news. And similar to Gen Xers, the top 3 sources are, in order, mortgages, credit card bills, and car loans. But while they have less debt than millennials and Gen Xers, many baby boomers don't have a lot of savings despite being close to retirement. A third of baby boomers have less than $25,000 put away for their golden years, according to Northwestern Mutual, meaning they could end up working longer than they planned. Okay, so they don't have any money. It doesn't really talk about if Gen Xers have any money. Let's see. Yeah, see, they say they don't have a lot, but they don't compare the amount of available cash to what the Gen Xers have. In general, we know the older you get, until around age 65 or 70, typically the more net worth you have. Okay, yeah, so that's the shape of it. Most people have around almost $40,000 of personal debt. So if you can just look up and avoid accruing $40,000 of debt, or pay off your debt to below $40,000, pay off all your debt, definitely try to pay off all your debt within 2 years, you will be way ahead of this game, and it's going to be so much easier to avoid the fate of these baby boomers. It's going to be so much easier to save up a nice nest egg to enjoy that last third of your life when you're no longer working. All right, well, that is it for 5-Year Club video number 243. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it gave you something to remember later about the average shape of personal debt for Americans at different ages. Have a fabulous evening.